Welcome to the Derek Creason Show. This is episode 12. I am your host, Derek Creason. You can find me on social media. At Derek Creason is my handle on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find me on Rumble as well. As always, I welcome your feedback, your questions, your suggestions, etc. You can hit me up on email. Derek@derekcreason.com is the email address. And a couple of you have actually sent me some emails and feedback from my last two episodes, so just want to say I do read those and I do appreciate them. Feel free to reach out and let me know what's going on and what you think of the show. I appreciate that. Also, go on over to my website, derekcreason.com. Sign up for my newsletter so you can stay up to date with what's going on with me. The next newsletter will be going out on Sunday here in just another day and a half or so. Be on the lookout for that. Also want to take a second and just talk about my Insiders community over on Locals. It's a platform. It's a shoot off of Rumble, but it's a nice, cool platform similar to Patreon. But I've been growing the show and I've set up a Locals community called the Derek Creason Show, Become an Insider. Over there, anything you see me post on my regular social medias or videos or podcasts, I will also link all that stuff there. But I also put out extra stuff in my Locals community. It's kind of like behind the scenes. You get backstage pass. I'll put out exclusive content there that I don't do anywhere else. I'm working on bonus episodes. I will give you more unfiltered takes on the latest news, pop culture, all that kind of stuff. Not so maybe censored if I censor myself. I'm not quite sure. Behind the scenes on the creative process, what I'm working on, as well as just more direct and individual updates of what's going on with me. You can come engage, hang out, get to know each other. There's tons of free stuff in there. Come check it out. It's the DerekCreationShow.locals.com. It's another cool place to hang out and help have community and grow the show. So come check it out. And lastly, before we get the show started, I want to remind you that my book 20-something is available on Amazon. It's called 20-something, Surviving the 10 Most Important Years of Your Life. You can get it on Kindle or paperback. This is a great book for anybody who's just finishing up high school, getting ready to start college, anybody in their 20s or young adults going through stuff. The whole premise of the book is stuff that I learned at maybe age 28, 29, even 30, 31, 32, that I wish maybe I'd known at age 21, 22, 23. So if I can help kind of pass along some of those life lessons to people at a younger age and save them some time, some heartache, some headache, then that's what the whole purpose of the book is for. So go check it out. It's on paperback. It's on Kindle. You can even read it for free if you're part of the Kindle Unlimited program. Go check it out. Links for my 20-something book are all over my website and my socials, on my link tree. You can also just go to Amazon.com and type in my name, Derek Creason, or type in 20-something, and that book will come up. Welcome to the show. Let's get going. Today is Friday, April 26th, and coming up on today's show, we've got surgery. We'll talk about my surgery I just had a couple days ago. We'll talk surgery. I'll talk the day of surgery, the aftermath, all that kind of fun stuff. We'll talk some movies. I've been watching a little bit of movies during recovery, and if I have some energy, maybe we'll do some live Twitter news and see how it goes from there. Recent life updates. So this is the segment where I talk about what I've been up to lately. And if you've been following me at all or know what's going on with my life or any of my following me on social media at all, you know that I had surgery this week. So I'm just going to talk about that for a while. I actually posted about a 5-8 minute video over on my Insiders community a couple days ago afterwards. I don't know how groggy I was. Maybe that wasn't the smartest thing to try to record my video and talk about it while I was still on pain meds. But we'll check that out. This is going to be a little bit more free-flowing, long-winded, just talking. And so if you hear any weird cuts, that's how to go back and edit it out because I was rambling. But we're just going to do our best here. So I'm going to talk about my surgery. So what did I have done? I had a slap tear on my bicep. And so what that means is your bicep, it's got two heads. That's why it's called bicep, and it goes up and attaches into different places in your shoulder. And one goes up and attaches kind of on the top and the outside. And mine had become frayed and had a tear in there, and I've been dealing with it for about a year, since last March. I had gone to quite a few doctors. I did physical therapy for about 6 months. I did a couple cortisone steroid injections, which helps for a little while, but those eventually wore off. And then it just eventually just wasn't getting better and was still slowly getting worse. And so I didn't really want to have surgery, but it kind of came to the point that if I'm not going to be able to get it fixed and get my shoulder to a reasonable level of functionality to do my day-to-day tasks, be able to put on a shirt, be able to carry groceries, be able to drive my car, be able to sleep and roll over at night without extreme pain, that was just going to be time to go have this looked at surgically. And so I met with a couple different doctors, and I finally met with a surgeon who explained it really well, what they would do to fix it and how long it would take to recover. I felt pretty comfortable with that, and so we decided to go ahead and do the surgery. What they did was called a bicep tendinosis surgery, which is basically where they go in and that tendon that is frayed and got a slap tear in it, they cut it all the way off, and then they reattach it below the shoulder joint to the bone with an anchor. And so they drill an anchor into your bone and attach the tendon there below the shoulder so it doesn't get impinged or caught up in the hinging movements of your shoulder blade. Your shoulder, not your shoulder blade. So that is the surgery I had done. Also, while they were in there laparoscopically with their little camera and their scissors and stuff, they double checked on my rotator cuff, which they said the rotator cuff was fine. They said I had a little bit of other inflammation, bicep tendonitis, which they cleaned up a little bit. And then I had some type of bone spur or bumpiness on one of the bones that was supposed to be smooth. And so they smoothed that out. And then they also did something with some inflammation around the bursa, which is another part of something inside of your shoulder. That's kind of all the cleanup work they went and did inside my shoulder. So the recovery time for this type of surgery is supposed to be about 3 to 4 months. I'm about to go start physical therapy next week, about a week after the surgery. The first couple of days I have just been resting up, so it's been kind of interesting. I'm in an immobilizer sling thingy-mabob, which basically just holds my arm in place so I can't move it. Mostly that was because of the anesthesia that they did. I think I had some regular general anesthesia, good old fentanyl and whatnot that you always hear on the news, but it's the correct medical doses, so it's not going to kill you. But they gave me a paralytic nerve blocker agent that they injected into my neck, which basically makes the nerves in my shoulder go numb, but also all the way down my whole arm. So basically my whole arm was numb for a day and a half. They said that could last up to 96 hours. I actually have another bracelet on my other arm that says, hey, this guy has been given local anesthetics within 96 hours following administration of Exparel, whatever that is. That must have been the medicine. But anyway, so my whole arm was numb. Couldn't feel a thing on it when I woke up. And so that was nice to not feel pain. But the numbness actually felt really weird. My thumb and forefinger, I couldn't move any of my fingers, not even to like push a button on my phone or my watch. So the fingers were pretty much useless. But the numbness just felt weird, like my thumb was full of fluid. It wasn't painful, but it was uncomfortable. And since your brain was like, this isn't registering as pain, but it's not normal, your brain was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I don't like it. So I'm just going to remind you that something is irritated and weird, but it's not necessarily painful, but you're aware of it. So you just kind of have to deal with it. And then very, very slowly, over a day and a half, that finally wore off about lunchtime yesterday. So I can actually feel and move my fingers now, which is nice. But now I'm also aware of, once that started to wear off, I'm aware of pain in my shoulder because they cut it open. Okay, so let's talk the day of the surgery, if you want to hear about this. So the day of the surgery, I had to be there at 5:30 in the morning. So I got up at like 4:45, 4:50, almost slept through my 2 or 3 alarms. Got up, took a quick shower, couldn't put any deodorant or anything on, no jewelry, no lotion, no deodorant, no chemicals, no food, no water, no coffee, all that kind of stuff. Basically to just give you as easy as possible a time when doing anesthesia. Went to the outpatient clinic hospital place at the Orthopedic Institute and got checked in, did all my paperwork, paid my $31 copay. So that'll be interesting to see how the medical bills stack up for that. But so far it was $31 out of pocket for the shoulder surgery. Did all the paperwork, got checked in. Then they take me back and start getting me all set up. The nurse, so basically I got to wear the nice cool gown where your butt hangs out. Got to wear my nice socks. They put on the leg compressor things that help your blood flow, which are actually kind of comfortable. They massage your calves. They kind of pump up and tighten up and then release. So that's kind of relaxing. They did that. They gave me some like Tylenol and stuff ahead of time. They put an IV in my right wrist, which I never had an IV before, so it wasn't terrible. The anesthesiologist came by and talked to me. We talked through all that stuff. The doctor came by and talked through the whole procedure. We took a Sharpie marker and verified yes on my left shoulder that was the correct shoulder that we were going to operate on. So that way there would be no mistakes, and we'd make sure we cut open the right arm, the correct arm, not the right arm, the left arm, the correct one. And then what else did we do? Hooked me up to all the vitals, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your oxygen, all that kind of stuff. All pretty straightforward. I have actually never had a major surgery before. I've been pretty lucky, been pretty healthy my whole life. For being a young 40-year-old, the only major medical things I've ever had done in life was I had LASIK done on one eye when I was like 21, 22. I had my wisdom teeth pulled out, which I guess had some kind of anesthesia, but I think it was different. And then I had a vasectomy about 4 years ago, but there was no anesthesia involved with that. Just lasers on my balls. Different story for another day. So no major surgeries, no major injuries my whole life. So been pretty lucky. This was an outpatient surgery, pretty run-of-the-mill surgery for the surgeon. Took him about an hour, he said. And then I was in and out in about 5-7 hours. I went home around lunchtime. When they gave me the anesthesia, they said it would act pretty quick. They gave me the anesthesia in my IV before they gave me the thing in my neck. And then probably a minute later, I don't remember much of anything after that, other than I vaguely remember having them slide me over from the bed I was in to, I guess, the operating table, which was like cold. That's all I remember. It was like, oh, this bed is cold, because I was bare-assed. And there was a bunch of people, and there was all kinds of scrubs and gloves and stuff like you see on the medical TV shows. I didn't even remember that till later on in the day. That just kind of came back to me. And then I woke up, and it was, 11:45 or so, and I did not remember the last 2 or 3 hours. I think they said the surgery took an hour-ish, and this is all secondhand that I'm remembering, also while being heavily sedated and drugged. The details could be off a little bit, so if I retcon them later or give you more details more differently or more accurately later, that's why, because it's all just secondhand memory through drugs. Oh, I woke up feeling pretty groggy, pretty loopy. I remember talking to the nurse lady, who was very nice and helping take care of me, that everything was blue, the floor was blue, the walls were blue. The nurses were all wearing blue scrubs. The nurse had blue eyes. I had on a blue gown. I had blue eyes. Everything was just blue, and blue is my favorite color, so I was commenting heavily on how much I liked everything being blue. Then they gave me some crackers and ginger ale, which I never had ginger ale before, and they're like, well, that's what you chose, and it didn't taste bad. I had no recollection of choosing that. They said, yeah, we offered you a Sprite, water, Coke, whatever, and I chose ginger ale, but I was no memory of that conversation, so who knows how long I was, air quotes, awake and talking before my memory or my brain caught up with that. Hung out in recovery for a while. They gave me some more pain meds. I slowly started to come to. Amy got to come back and hang out with me. Eventually, it was good enough that they helped me get dressed, and then I got to go home. And then a lot of it's just been sitting in a recliner with the arm nerve stuff, the nerve block on my arm. I'm not supposed to take the sling off for 72 hours. That is actually today. I actually took it off for the first time just this morning. Excited that later today I'm going to get to shower for the first time in 3.5 days. So starting to be a little greasy and smelly. Looking forward to getting a shower in, getting these Band-Aids off and seeing the actual incisions for the first time and seeing what I'm dealing with, and then just taking care of them, and then starting to exercise and the physical therapy and just slowly working back to normal. So that is kind of the process of where I'm at. Pain medication they gave me what they call narco or hydrocodone, the oxycodone with the Tylenol, and that's the stuff you always hear about that people get hooked on, then ended up homeless and on the street doing heroin and stuff. So I was a little nervous about that, but so far hasn't been too bad. Just been taking what they've told me to, and then last night and today I slowly started to ramp it down. The pain medication never felt like some crazy amazing high. It never took all the pain completely away, but it just made it manageable. A little bit groggy with it, a little bit loopy, not too bad, not too nauseous. Would kind of go, and I'd take it every 6 hours. I'd go through 6-hour spurts. I'd get a good hour and a half to 2 hours where I'd be fully alert in the middle there somewhere when I wasn't napping or feeling groggy, coming up or coming down off of it. Never felt too weird or bad. It did make me a little emotional, probably cry at least once every 6 hours due to something setting me off, but that was mostly due to the medication. Getting through all that, definitely feeling better today on the third day, which is Friday, and only took 1 this morning versus 2. I took 1.5 last night. I can definitely tell I'm not near as groggy. I've got more energy. The pain seems about the same, maybe a little bit more because I've been moving more, but slowly trying to ramp down off that and then the movement up on the movement, so to start building recovery and then just working through that. I was a little nervous about all that. You kind of feel all the emotions about all that. The other weird part is as all these numbness and pain medications have worn off, I start to feel movement, or I can feel my bicep, I can feel my shoulder, my back, my tricep. Anytime I move a muscle, or like when I yawned, you don't realize that uses your back muscles, or you move your fingers and that moves your bicep, and then I can feel the movement in those, and my bicep is sore, kind of like if you've done a bicep workout, you've done curls, your muscles feel sore, but then also my brain's like, well, it feels sore, you just had surgery on it. Is that sore from movement? Is that sore from injury? Is that a good pain? Is that a bad pain? Should I be feeling that at all? Should I not be feeling that? Do I need to work through that? Do I need to stop moving? And so we're kind of having to relearn all the signals around that area of my body and what I can trust and what I can't trust and what I should be careful with and what I should push through, all that kind of stuff. So just having to be very hypersensitively aware of the movements of your muscles because they're all kind of done, and I got to be careful with them so I don't injure them, and then I can recover them at the appropriate rate. So that's kind of been the majority of the surgery, the day of, the recovery. I've been sitting in the recliner. Appetite hasn't been too different. I've been eating a little bit here and there, and then just would watch some TV and some movies when I was actually awake enough to want to watch, but not near as much TV as I thought I would be doing. I'll probably start watching a little bit more. This podcast I'm doing right now is a lot more just spoken. I usually like to try to write out my segments so I don't have to go back and edit out as much of the and stalls in speech or whatever. But I can't really type one-handed very well, so a lot of this is a lot more off the cuff, so there'll be a little bit more editing, but also a lot more just raw and genuine me versus me reading off a teleprompter like Ron Burgundy. That's all I can think of to talk about regarding the surgery. I want to say thank you to everyone who's called or messaged me or stopped by, brought us food to help take care of the kids and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate everyone concerns and prayers. It's been nice to feel loved and taken care of. Appreciate all that. And now I'm just on the road to recovery, working through it. If you got questions or want to hear more about it, message me, call me, talk to me. I'm happy to hang out. I'm going to be at home for a couple weeks. I took 3 weeks off work to recover and work through physical therapy before I try to get back into doing work. I've got a little bit of time on my hands these next 2.5, 3 weeks. So feel free to hit me up if you want to talk. All right, that's going to do it for today. I know I said earlier that I'd probably talk about some movies and maybe some news, but honestly, I am just wiped. That 15, 20 minutes I talked about the surgery, that part wasn't too bad, but then it took me a good 30, 40 minutes to edit it, and I am just wiped and out of energy, and I need to go eat and take a nap. So we will push off the movie reviews and some news updates till the next episode, which might be tomorrow, it might be Monday. I've got some more free time. I'm going to be trying to do more of these for fun because I like to be creative, and it's nice to do something, not just sit and stare at the wall or watch TV all day. Thank you guys for listening. Hit me up if you want to talk. You got questions. Derek@DerekCreason.com is the email address. @DerekCreason is the socials. You can find me everywhere. All the normal stuff I say. Go check out my book. Go check out my Insiders community. Hit me up if you want to talk while I'm off work for the next 3 weeks. I will catch you guys later. I had a shoulder injury on my left shoulder. I have something with the bicep. It's a big, long word. I'm going to edit all this rambling out. I'm going to pause it here while I remember the damn word. Had what it was called. I have a slat. See what else to talk about. Come on, brain.